In this episode, Ryan shares some strategies that he has been using for nearly 20 years that, when executed properly, generates an endless supply of money from properties that you are just renting from another landlord. If you're in need of a lump sum of money, £3, £5, £10, or even £17,050, which was generated from a property this week, then this episode will blow your mind wide open to the opportunities that are all around you every single day to build wealth and get money wherever you need it. Let me know what you think of this episode by leaving Ryan a review. Nothing but the truth on Tuesdays. Every Tuesday, you'll get nothing but the truth. This offensive and explicit episode covers current issues, trending topics, and more that will punch you in the face with the truth. If you can't handle that, don't listen, because Ryan does not hold back. And if you're up to no good, we're watching.
Hey podcasters, I hope everybody is well. Where are we now? Monday the 17th of August. I'm just sitting outside the hotel. Not my hotel, the hotel in the marina. I've got some lunch on its way. I've got some podcast episodes I need to record. My podcast producer is messaging me saying we need some content, etc. You need to get it to me today. I got some stuff that's going out and I haven't recorded the episode. Now, I've got some lunch on its way. I've just popped out to the car, sitting in the car outside the hotel, recording this episode to give you guys as much value as possible. And I want to talk about some problems and raising finance at the same time. Now, don't think about raising finance in any other way. It's not complicated. It's not hard. It's just a tactic that we use and we reinvest the money, okay? So it doesn't matter how much money you've got, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million. Companies, businesses, entrepreneurs always need more money. Whatever anybody says, and it doesn't matter that we're raising money in this way. It doesn't mean we haven't got any money. It just means money produces more money, okay? So some things you don't need to have money to do, but other things at scale you need to have money. And for myself, obviously you guys know I was in prison a long time ago, 2010, I think it was, etc., and it affected my credit and other things, and etc. So yeah, I haven't gone to any banks. I've gone to no high street banks. I use like bridging finance, non-status finance, secured on a property, secured on the asset, etc. Never been bankrupt. However, there is a CCJ or a couple of CCJs that take 5 years to be lifted off of your credit file. So right now, while I was in prison, back then, while I was in prison, which ended, then they stay on there for 5 years. They didn't actually put them on until I left custody, which was terrible, or just at the end of leaving custody, and then they stay for 5 years. So anyway, they come off next year, etc. Some others have already come off, so I'm hindered for getting finance in my own name. Okay, so anyway, I've got some tactics, I've got some strategies that work for anybody, whether you're bankrupt, whether you've got CCJs, whether you've got good credit or bad credit, and you need to raise money. This is how one method that I've been doing it, okay, guys, to reinvest into more property deals. Let me ask you a question. Are you and your family prepared for when the economy crashes and your bank balance goes to zero? In the aftermath of the 2008 property crash, I held a keynote talk in Piccadilly around property investment tactics that work when the economy crashes. And these tactics saved me in the 2008 crash. Let me share them with you real quickly. The first one is buying properties for £1 without getting a mortgage, without putting a deposit down, and without any credit whatsoever. The next strategy is finding properties with £25,000 to £50,000 of instant equity. The next strategy is buying a property today and paying for the property later when it's worth more, a lot more in the future. The next strategy is renting HMOs and student properties and any properties up to 75% below the market rent. This gives you massive cash flow right now. And then the next strategy is raising from £4,000 to £14,000 from properties that you just rent. This can be used as get started cash for whatever you want in your business. Now, I created a free training to walk you through the only strategies that will save your bank balance from going to zero. I'm serious. If you just go to www.propertycrashcourse.com and tell me where to send this free training. Now, this is just raising about 17 grand. It's not a huge amount of money, but it can get you into, a deposit on a property to buy, or it can get you into multiple rent-to-rent deals, multiple HMO deals, multiple rent arbitrage deals, or you can go and, buy a bloody car with it, or whatever you want to do. Blow it on fucking deposit on a Bentley. I don't know. It's up to you. Anyway, I use it to make money. Here's the tactic. So, here's the tactic and the problem at the same time. So, I have a rental property that, or this particular rental property, we lease it from an owner, okay? So, what I've got is a property I lease from an owner. I have a particular rental contract in place. That means I'm now the landlord. I can do whatever I want with the property, okay? Now, what I've done with that particular property is the rent that I pay, or the premium I pay, is £1,250 a month. And I've actually re-let the property this year, this time, to this group for a very, very, very low rate of £1,550. Oh, I just had it up on my thing. £17,050 is the amount that we raised from this particular deal. £17,050, okay? So I rented it around about £1,550, I think, a month, so it makes about £300 a month. But I brought the price down. I brought the price low because I didn't want to. We have been getting £2,150 a month in the past, but because it's a long-term 12-month deal, because we want to use it to raise finance and roll the money into something else, it's actually a different type of deal that we've done, which is not based on how much money we make each month. It's about grabbing just under 20 grand to put into other deals, okay? So we're using this one as a bank, okay? So I have a contract, guaranteed rental contract, a lease with the owner. I don't own the property. I didn't buy the property. Didn't put a mortgage deposit down. Didn't have to go through solicitors, etc., etc. I rent the property to keep it simple. Contract I have means I can do whatever I want with the building or the property once I have the contract, okay? And it lasts, I don't know, about 3 years or something like that, okay? So I found a group of tenants and negotiated a deal where they get a lower rent if they pay 12 months in advance, okay? So they pay 12 months in advance at £1,550. I pay £1,250 a month every single month to the landlord, which is a lease premium. It means I make, £300 net profit every single month. But again, it's not for the net profit. It's for the just under 20 grand lump sum that will roll into more deals, roll into more rent-to-rent deals, roll into deposits on other properties, or use it to go on bloody holiday, whatever you want to do, or buy a fucking Bentley. Whatever you want to do, it's entirely up to you, okay?
Make sure you've subscribed, because tomorrow you'll get nothing but the truth on Tuesdays. Every Tuesday, you'll get nothing but the truth. This offensive and explicit episode covers current issues, trending topics, and more that will punch you in the face with the truth. If you can't handle that, don't listen, because Ryan does not hold back. And if you're up to no good, we're watching.
So, contract enables me to do that. Tenants are paying the 12 months in advance. That gives me around £17,000 to move into another deal. Now, if any of you guys don't think this can be done, if any of you guys haven't been this creative to think outside the box, it really is that simple, okay? You rent a property, you have a contract. You then find a group of tenants, students, anybody, and do a deal with them if they have the 12 months in advance. So I get the £17,050 in advance in one lump sum, and I just pay £1,250. So what I'm doing is I'm using that money, I'm using that tenant, I'm using that property, using that contract as a bank. 0% interest, no early repayment charges, no arrangement fees, no credit checking, no referencing, absolutely nothing at all. Just £17,050 like that in the bank account, £1,250 a month that I continue to pay to the landlord, the landlady, and it makes £300 a month. So technically I'm being paid to borrow money, okay? If any of you out there are looking for money, if any of you need money for your first deal or your first few deals, or you're thinking you might need a joint venture partner because you haven't got the money to go into this deal, all you need to do is just execute on what I just said. Rent a property from a landlord in an area where you know that you can re-rent the property quickly, even if you rented it at the market value. Of course, I'm not encouraging you to rent at the market value and re-rent at the market value because you wouldn't make any money. But if your goal is to raise 10, 15, 20 grand from the property, you know, making money is a bonus on top of that. If the money you're going to borrow from releasing from the property is going to make you more money, then that should be your angle. When you can get both, when you can make 300, 400, 500 a month, and you can raise over 17 grand, it's a no-brainer, okay? I hope you got some value from this episode. I just want to open your mind how you can be creative, how you can find money anywhere and everywhere to make money with, regardless of where you're from, what you look like, what color you are, what you had for breakfast, where you was born, what your education was, what you know, what you don't know, who you know, how much money you've got, what your credit's like, have you got a good credit score, etc., etc. You don't need anything at all for this, apart from this episode of this podcast. If you got any questions, hit me up on the internet. Just search my name, or just send a review for this podcast and ask me a question. I'll help you guys. Boom.
He's a #1 Amazon bestseller. He's an NLP manipulator. He's a property course seller. He's a Lamborghini driving multi-millionaire property guru. Forget that same old boring I am me narcissistic podcast format, because nobody gives a f***. This podcast is all about you. So I'm taking these few seconds to thank you for subscribing, to thank you for leaving your 5-star reviews, and thank you for sharing this show with all of your friends. My team and I will keep bringing you these episodes and answering all of your burning questions in my Facebook community group called Property Crash Course. If you can just keep telling all of your friends about this show.